Hello my loyal companions, welcome back to the channel and to another episode of Rogue Revealed, the series where I take you through everything you need to know about Rogue Company. In today's video I'm going to go back onto the weapon guides and focus specifically on some of the gadgets in the lethal category, so these are the ones that deal damage to the enemies. If you do go on to enjoy the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel, but for now, let's get into it. In these videos, you know I like to give you some raw stats, so they will be here displayed in these tables for you, but I will also give you a little bit of a comparison about how the different grenades work in different circumstances and which ones compare well to the others. Kicking us off is going to be the C4, which is unique to Talon and Anvil within the game and is described as a plastic explosive device that can be detonated remotely. I've labelled here the base damage, radius, range and speed for you, along with how they change as you upgrade them. Looking at the base stats, the damage is 130 and that works in the radius of 0 meters to 3 meters. So if you land it anywhere in there and detonate it, it will do 130 damage, which is enough to kill someone with full armor. As you then extend from 3 meters to 4.5 meters, it will do varying damage from 130 to 60. It will not do any damage past 4.5 meters, but say for example you hit someone at around 4 meters, it will do somewhere around the 90 damage mark. It sort of falls off gradually and pretty consistently within that 3 meter to 4.5 meter range. The maximum range you can actually throw the C4 is 17 meters and it goes at a speed of about 10 meters per second. The first upgrade increases the throw distance to 23 meters. The second upgrade will increase its damage to 150, and the way that works from the radius is that they stay within 0.0 to 3 meters at 150, and then as you get to the 4.5 meter mark, that's when it drops off at 70, and that's the lowest damage it will do in the 4.5 meter range. All the other stats stay consistent throughout though. Some unique features of the C4 is that it will stick to surfaces but does not stick to people, like a SEMTEX would, and it does not detonate instantly or have a cooked time like a grenade does. It detonates when you reactivate the throw button. That being said though, it does not detonate mid-air. It can only detonate once the C4 has actually landed in its spot, and from then on it will detonate instantly when you press the button. Moving on then to the SEMTEX, which is the lethal for Glitch, Lancer and Shark. This is described as a grenade that sticks to surfaces and people before exploding. Its base damage is 100, and when you stick someone with it, in blue you'll see it goes to 150 damage when you actually hit someone with the stuck grenade. If you do not stick them and it lands near them, it will still do damage, and the radius of this is 0 meters to 2.5 meters, it will do the full 100, and then as you go from 2.5 meters to 4 meters, it will drop down slowly until you get to a minimum of 40. I describe its range as long because you really can throw it as far as you need, over 100 meters, and the speed at which you throw it base is 28 meters per second, which is really fast if you compare it to the 10 meters per second of the C4. The first upgrade will increase its throw speed and increase the stuck damage to 250, which is why that blue number then goes up. And if you go down and look at the throw speed, you increase it by 5 meters per second to 33 meters per second. The last upgrade increases the explosion radius, so this is if you don't stick them, the radius then goes from 0 meters to 3 meters, doing the maximum 100 damage, and from 3 meters to 4.5 meters is the drop off up to 40. Some unique features for this though is that it will stick to surfaces and people, as mentioned, and the detonation time once it does hit someone or does hit the ground is 1 second. That means that when it lands, it'll take a second, then it'll explode. But that is a very, very quick detonation time compared to the lethals in this game, and if you land it near someone, most of the time they will die unless they have tenacity. Moving on, next is going to be the grenade, and this is unique to Ronin, Phantom and Dima, and is a grenade that explodes after a short fuse and can be cooked. Its base damage is 100, and the radius at which this is optimal is 0 meters to 3 meters, doing that maximum 100 damage. And then from 3 meters to 4.5 meters, it will go down until it gets to about a minimum of 50 damage. Again, it has a really long throw distance, over 100 meters, but because of the detonation time that it does have as it flies through the air, you only really get up to about 100 meters before it will explode. The speed at which you throw it is 13 meters per second, which again is really comparable to the SEMTEX. The first upgrade is going to increase this explosion radius, and as you can see with the numbers, actually the minimum number doesn't change, so it still stays from 0 meters to 3 meters doing 100, but the longer radius of it is from 3 meters to 5 meters until it drops down to 50. The final upgrade will increase the damage to 125 meters, and within the radius, that basically stays the same. It increases the 0 meter to 3 meter damage to 125, but the 3 meter to 5 meter, because you have to include the other upgrade as well, only goes to 50 still. Some unique features for this that are really important for you to note is that, of course, it can be cooked, the grenade in your hand, and it has a 4-second detonation. So if you hold it in your hand for 4 seconds, you will blow yourself up. But then you have to sort of optimize how long you're holding it so it detonates instantly when you throw it towards the enemies. And this is something you'll sort of learn by trial and error. However, there are ways to help you, and actually when you're holding out the grenade and you can see the indicator of where it's going, there are 2 things that will show you how far it's going to go and how close it is to detonating. The first is that it has a red line, so it's normally a white line, but as that gets slowly more red and red, that shows you how close it is to detonating, and until it gets a really harsh red, in which case you're probably about to die. It also decreases the distance at which it can be thrown. So as the cook time goes down, the range at which it's able to be thrown will go down from 100 basically all the way down to 0. And when it's at 0, again, you're dead. These are actually some really quite unique indicators, and I like that they added them. It really does help the person trying to use it have a bit more information about how long this cook time lasts. Now we move on to the incendiary grenade, which is used by Dallas, Vi, and of course, Scorch. This is described as a grenade that creates a lingering pool of fire, and its base damage is 10 damage per 0.25 seconds. So every quarter second it does 10 damage, meaning in 1 second it does 40 damage. So you would have to stay in this for 2.5 seconds to die fully with base health. The radius, and this is where it gets slightly odd, when you throw it down, it creates these pools of fire that each have a diameter, so from edge to edge, of 3 meters. But what I've noticed and what you'll see on screen here is that it's not consistent in terms of how many pools there are and the radius in which those pools lie. This is quite weird. I don't think it's a bug actually. I do think it's intended, but the range and radius of the incendiary grenade is not consistent in the game because it doesn't always do the set amount of pulls in the same order and the same formation. The range at which you can throw the incendiary grenade is again very long, over 100 meters, and the speed at which it goes is again similar to the grenade, 30 meters per second. The first upgrade increases this radius, and I do believe the amount of pools that can go within it do increase slightly, but the diameter of the pools definitely increased to 4 meters from 3 meters. So it is a larger radius. It does cover a bit bigger area, but again, it's still random in terms of how many pools it is and in what formation they lie. So again, it's quite inconsistent. The final upgrade will increase the fire duration. If we look at the unique features, normally they last 8 seconds. The pool lingers for 8 seconds, but when you finally upgrade it, that goes to 10 seconds. And as I said, in the other unique feature, the spread and amount of pulls is random. This then takes us on to our last lethal, which is the trip mine, which is exclusive to Saint and his usage. This is a deployable mine that detonates when enemies approach from the front. Something that people don't actually notice a lot is that it is from the front, and I will explain that in a second. In terms of its damage, its base damage, in fact, all its damage as you upgrade it is 100 damage, which is enough to kill someone without armor. And the radius is a 3 meters in front of it in a cone shape. So if you approach from the side, it doesn't always detonate you. It depends where you lie within that cone shape. And it is indicated by 3 lines, 1 dead straight, 1 going off at a left angle, 1 going off at a right angle. And if you get too close to those lines, that is when the detonation will occur. The unique features and why this is so interesting is the cone shape is only in front. If you're standing directly behind where the claymore is where the trip mine is facing outwards, if you're behind it, you will not take any damage from it firstly if it explodes, and you will not set it off from behind. This is really, really unique and is actually very consistent with other shooters, but not a lot of people realize it. If you're behind it in any fashion, you will not take the damage and you will not set it off. The first upgrade, because they are important to note, is that the trip mine becomes less conspicuous and increases its durability, the health of it. This is quite important. It is very good to get this upgraded than the lasers that show the cone shape in which it detonates is harder to see for the enemy, so very important. And of course, increased durability means it takes longer to shoot. And then the final upgrade helps Saint carry 2 of them, which is not very useful statistically. So what you can see and what I'm about to explain now is how different all of these lethal grenades are, which is firstly very, very good. I like the dynamic of it, but how they all can fulfill a different role in a different way. For example, the trip mine and the incendiary are both very good for zone control in their different ways. Incendiary obviously doesn't last permanently, while the trip mine does unless it's shot or broken. However, the trip mine is not great at flushing people out of positions and can only be placed directly under Saint when he uses it, whereas the incendiary grenade can be thrown at a really far distance to do a big area damage and get people off of the objective or get people out of a position that they're hiding behind. The C4 is also really good for zone control and potentially covering your flank like the trip mine is, because you just wait for someone to walk past it, then detonate it and does massive damage. But you have to be there in the eyesight of it and know when they're coming for you to manually detonate it, whereas a trip mine does this alone. That being said though, the C4 does massive damage if you compare it to something like the SEMTEX, which doesn't have very good blast damage, whereas the C4 does, then potentially the C4 is better. However, the SEMTEX is quicker to throw and has massive damage if you are able to get that stick off, which is invaluable, honestly, when it comes to certain people, if they have health or, for example, shack over hill. And then you have the grenade, which is so valuable because depending on how good you are as a player, shows you how useful this could be. If you're able to cook it at the exact right time, it's an instant explosion, basically. If you can throw it right as it explodes, right on the enemy, then that's going to be the most valuable thing for you. I think the balance of all of these different types of lethals was done really well. They all feel very unique in their own right, but all have advantages and disadvantages compared to the other ones. Okay then guys, that's going to take us to the end of the video, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. You can also come follow me on twitch.tv/radthargaming to see live game commentaries, guides, and competitive gameplays such as things like tournaments. In the next week, I do want to drop a video showing you the same sort of formula for the more tactical gadgets, things like the flashbangs and the EMPs and things like that. If that is something you want to see, make sure you leave it down in the comments below so I know that's what you're looking forward to. Other than that guys, all the links you need are in the description. I hope you have a fantastic day, and remember, be loyal, be brave, be relentless, and I'll see you in the next video.